The three women stared at the old video cassette tape recorder, combined with a thick semi-round screen square behind television. 10 years Ornitopthera thought her mother had passed away through suicide. Never had some closure, only to find out she was held captive, tortured, used as a lab rat. In her anger and disbelief, she stared at the woman who gave birth to her, who had now turned into some disfigured humanoid alien, lying on some old moldy bed, unable to speak back to her own daughter. She walked then to the tape recorder and pushed in the last videotape of her mother's message to her.
Hey, baby girl, I wish I had more time with you. My heart is broken. I have these pills to end the pain, to just sleep and have peace. I've suffered enough, but I know I have something as beautiful as my baby girl you are. Do not seek validation in this world. Baby girl, you already have it. This world will never satisfy you with what you're looking for. Don't you forget that. Don't be sad that I'm leaving. This is the way. It was all borrowed time anyway. Don't you forget that, baby girl. I wish I could see you and my grandson one more time. I feel blessed. You have become such a kind, brave, strong young woman. A better person. Baby, I am proud. I am proud of you, Ornitopthera, to be your mother. Oh.
Myra Nova stared at the old woman as she was struggling to speak, her voice muted like the alien she was becoming. It sounded odd and ridiculous. Jane Murray then opened the cylinder pill and emptied the content of 15 pills onto her palm and looked up into the camera as if she was saying goodbye to her daughter. Ornitopthera remembered what her mother told her about her grandmother, the beautiful words, the affirmations, the encouragement, the love of being a mother, a woman of free mind, the lover of H-Chronom's father. She always said, "I'm not where I want to be, but I'm proud. I'm not where I used to be," in the words of Nikia Gill. Think about this. You have the ability to survive anything at all. That is why, despite all the storms made of pain and loss, despite all the chaos that you have endured, you are still here and you are still going strong. I love you, baby, to the moon and back. She threw the pills into her mouth, and for a quiet, still moment, Angela slouched onto the ground and slipped into a coma. Nova and Myra looked at each other, shocked and in fear. They totally didn't understand what the mother was saying at the end, a gibberish alien language. In their disarray, they stared at Ornitopthera. With her streaming face of tears, she kissed her mother on the forehead and then walked onto the window sill, took a surgical knife. Next to the set of her Franciscan Renaissance teacups, she walked over to her mother, opened up her blouse, and looked at her bare chest and plunged the knife into it and started cutting into her flesh. Towards her breast, put the surgical knife down and opened her rib cage. Her heart was still beating, the beating heart of her mother. She then took the surgical knife and cut off the arteries of the heart. Myra and Noah continued to stare in horror with their hands over their mouth, and with the very bloody hand of Ornitopthera, she placed the heart into a jar of liquid. Oddly, it was still beating. It kept beating and kept beating in the jar, but her mother was dead. Something in Ornitopthera died that day. Something in that eerie silence. She stared at the beating heart of her mother in tears. Except H-Chronom, he had a wicked smile on his lips of his face. Mr. H-Chronom then stopped smirking at Ornitopthera when he saw her face change from anger that satisfied him, sadness, to a euphoria of calmness. Looking straight at him, it looked eerily creepy. Then he picked up his pistol. Without hesitation, H-Chronom shoots Nova and Myra in the head. He then points the gun at Ornitopthera and fires. Ornitopthera conjures in her ability a shield bubble that protects her from the bullet. It bounces off the shield back onto H-Chronom's leg. He falls to the ground in agony. Ornitopthera walks towards H-Chronom and picks up the gun. Instead of shooting him for all he had done to her, she simply walks back towards her mother and looks at her dead corpse, looked at Myra and Nova, who are dead. without any emotion, she checks the chamber of her gun, 1 bullet left, and places it on the window sill where the Francisca Renaissance teacups stood, close to 3 lovely flowers: Mimosa pudicia, Hibiscus rosa sinensis, and Chondrodendron tomentosum, also known as Carrera flower. Ornitopthera proceeds to make tea. She enjoys making this tea. She plucks a few of the Chondrodendron tomentosum flowers and places them in the cups, pours in some water, and begins to stir. The shouting and agony of H. crenum is like music to Ornitopthera's ears. She finally walks over towards him and grabs him by his throat, forces his mouth open, and pours in the content of the Chondrodendron with water into his mouth and shuts his nose closed. He swallows every drop. The effect is immediate. H. crenum struggles to stand up. His legs doesn't work. His arms don't move. And his chest slowly moves to still. His face and his eyes are transfixed on Ornitopthera. His eyes are the only ones that move, and tears start streaming from his cheeks to the floor. H. crenum is completely paralyzed. Ornitopthera walks back and places the cups on a table and pulls a chair underneath, sits down comfortably, takes 2 sheets of paper and a pen, like she's about to write something. She stops and stares into the window outside on the beautiful island where the house is. Tea I made you just drink is a plant of small stature with white flowers that can grow 10 feet tall. It has very large and broad leaves, and in some tradition, it's used to remove kidney stone, but it could easily be folklore. Unlike the hemlock flower you see, which looks very similar to the Chondrodendron tomentosum, it's 20 times more poisonous and instantaneous. But I gave you a small dosage for a lifetime. Chondrodendron tomentosum simply paralyzes you while your heart is beating. Know that these are the last moments you will be whole again. Ornitopthera begins to write the 2 letters. After a while, Ornitopthera stands up, and with one of the letters that is written, she places it on the hopeless villain who is now reduced to a room plant, and places the other letter with Dion, her son, at the edge of her mother's corpse. Ornitopthera then picks up the phone and dials 911. She also picks up the gun. She smiles at the content of the letter, which states,
I, H. Prenum, have done really horrible, bad abuse, torture, and murder, mainly of women, and as a result of that, I would like to make an amends. 30% of my entire wealth is to be donated to Darian, my wife's son, and 70% of the rest to an humanitarian center, which was called once Donkwe Industry, a women's center, where they will be treated with the best technology of healing therapy and living their best quality life after a traumatic experience. And I, H. Krenom, would like to spend the rest of my entire days at the Natural History Museum every single day watching insects, mainly butterflies. I would like to be picked up at the hours of 9 a.m. to evening of 7:30 in the evening, watching butterflies. I would like to be cared for with a nurse in a wheelchair wearing adult diapers, since I am in a paralytic stage, which I might add, did unto myself. Under no duress am I being given or forced to make this will. Signed to my lawyer, Thomas.
Heavy stream of tears streamed down the face of H. Krenom as he watched her smiling face. There is nothing to be done.
The end.